If you're in a band and you're playing a big show where you know there's going to be people, if you do not get a videographer or someone to take photos or videos, it's a shame, because that is your leverage. You start a restaurant, it's like people aren't going to come. They might come if they see a new restaurant, but they're not coming the third week if you do nothing. And that's like a band. It's like it's really hard for people to know about your band in the sea of other bands if you're not out there playing. And to play, you have to be proactive, reaching out to venues, setting up your schedule. You can't play once every 6 months and expect people to remember you.
Right.
And that it translates to online social media. It's like top of mind. It's a whole game. It's a whole game, like any business.
Welcome to the Pacos Plays podcast.
And the podcast will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm really excited to introduce my next guest. I'm a fan. Ladies and gentlemen, we will learn something from this guy tonight. Big round of applause, Mr. Johnny Fiacconi.
Paco, thank you so much for having me. This is such an honor. The first podcast I've ever been on as just myself. This is an honor. Thank you.
Honor is mine. The pleasure is mine. I'm a fan. What made you? Maybe it's because you're a drummer. I mean, nothing against guitar players,
Sure.
but we drummers, we're very generous. We don't hide our licks.
Yeah. It's very look at me. Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
What made you impart all your wisdom and knowledge to the community?
Honestly, I just feel like I've been learning so much from just being in the business for the past over 15 years, but legitimately 15 years. It's all I do every day. And I was just thinking, I'm like, I feel like I have to share this wisdom with other bands, because these are sometimes very difficult lessons that we've learned the hard way. And it's just like, I wish someone would have told me a lot of these things, especially, coming up in the game, even sometimes just little tidbits of oh, that's a great little tip. And when people have told me those things, they've stuck with me forever. So it was just genuinely wanting to just give back to the next generation and letting people know that you can have a career in music. I think a lot of people don't know that. They think it's just you write songs and you make it big, but there's so many different areas where you can make good money in music,
right.
And I just feel like I want to expose that to people at the end of the day, and that's why I started the channel, which is pretty new. It's a new channel.
By the way, speaking of channel, guys, we're posting the link of Johnny's YouTube and Instagram accounts so that you can follow along about what we're talking about.
Thank
now,
you.
Being a musician, has that always been a dream?
I mean, I've always been musical growing up. There's the cliche thing. There's the videos of me playing on the pots and pans. My dad actually has a video, so I always loved the drums. But I was always just been very musical as a kid. But what was very interesting is that I had a lot of different interests growing up. I was into sports, I was into drawing, and I was into music. Mm-hmm. And it was a good friend of mine who actually sat me down and had a chat with me. I think we were 17 or 18. Ooh. So we were very young. And he was like, you're essentially spread too thin. You're doing hockey practice, and then you're doing this and then traveling. He's like, but if you focus on music, you clearly love it. He's like, it can take you to all the places you want to go to. You can get what you want out of life by pursuing and going hard into music. And that was one of the first serious chats someone had with me about music that really sent me on that trajectory to having a life of music, where I am right now with my band.
Hey guys, Paco Arespacochaga here. I hope you guys are enjoying the video, because I had fun having this conversation with Johnny Fiacconi. Now, I just found out that 80% of you guys who are watching this video and are tuned into Paco's Place aren't still subscribed to the channel. If you guys are enjoying the videos and videos like this, please support the channel by hitting the subscribe button, the notification bell, give us a thumbs up, and also post a comment. Remember, your subscription increases our community, which helps the community invite more prominent guests. And I got that spiel from Mr. Rick Beato. But anyway, I hope you guys are enjoying the podcast. So here's more of my conversation with Johnny Fiacconi of the Dreamboats.
So 17, You mentioned hockey.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up?
So although we are out here in California, I originally grew up in Mississauga, Canada, which is right next to Toronto.
Shout out.
Toronto.
Yeah.
Mississauga, yes. Which
All
is
your
great.
life.
All my life, yeah. It's a suburban city, so it was really nice. It was safe growing up, but Toronto had a really great music scene. So there's a lot of like open mics and a lot of great musicians. So it was a wonderful city to grow up in, especially if you like music. You know, a lot of opportunities there. But at the same time, my band moved down here to California. In
The Dreamboats.
The Dreamboats in 2022. We moved together. We made the bold move, and after coming here, we've realized that A, there's a lot of competition, but B, the opportunity is so much bigger here in the United States.
So, okay, let's go back to 17-year-old Johnny.
Okay.
You're not the first child of your mom and dad, right? Are you middle child? What are you?
I'm the second. I have a big brother. He's 8 years older. It's his birthday today.
Happy
AJ.
birthday.
Happy birthday, AJ. Yeah. So I have an older brother. He was into sports, but he was the one who got me into music. He came downstairs one day and said, "Hey, Johnny, do you want to buy a drum kit?" He knew I had a secret stash of money that my grandparents gave me for my birthday.
Long and McQuaid.
Yeah, you know Long and
Yes!
McQuaid. Oh my God, people don't get that here.
I
Long
love
and McQuaid is
Long
the
and
best.
McQuaid. The best. It's the best.
It is.
Hands down.
It is hands down the best. And
Sorry, Guitar Center, but Long and McQuaid
I
rocks.
know. Guitar Center's got nothing on Long
Nope.
and McQuaid.
Nope.
I didn't buy the drums of Long and McQuaid. It didn't exist in this era. But he came down, and that was like my eyes lit up because I'd always wanted a drum set deep down. But I was afraid to ask my parents because if they had said, "Oh, what do you want a drum kit for? You don't like that," that would have broke my heart. But my brother came down, got my first drum kit, and I didn't stop playing it since.
How old were you? 17?
That would have been grade 6. So
Oh,
what
10?
is that?
Oh, wait.
12?
12.
Maybe? Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned that if you had felt rejection from your parents, it would have broken your heart.
Yeah.
Yet in your videos on
Yeah.
Instagram and YouTube, you teach musicians the value of rejection and all that
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
When okay, so 12-year-old Johnny
Yeah.
now has a drum kit coming from your own savings, and at 17 a friend of yours tells you to focus on music. Did you suck as a hockey player? Is that what it was?
I wasn't like my brother. My brother
Okay.
my brother had the killer instinct. But I just liked, I liked the social aspect of it,
Right.
playing, and I played at a decent level, but nowhere near what my brother
So
played.
why? Okay, well, so when your friend said this,
Yeah.
why did you see it as prophecy?
It's hard to see. It's like I needed someone to just tell me that. I was spread too thin, and I don't know. I've had a lot of people have had like serious chats with me over the years that have just really struck a chord and have shaped how I am. I'm like a sponge. I'm susceptible to things if they make logical sense.
Right.
And it made logical sense at that time. And but in terms of like rejection, like I kind of like rejection. Like you were saying, if you're trying to get a gig with someone and
Yeah.
maybe they don't take your band that time, it's like deep down I have this kind of desire to be like, all right, you're gonna come back one day. You're not gonna be able to afford us, So,
Isn't it nice
but I know it sounds bad on paper, but I think it's good to have
Yeah.
these little reasons of why you want to get to like some next level,
So 17, huh? What was the first band that you were in?
I had always been jamming with my brother in the basement. Although we weren't an official band, my brother, we would play like Metallica.
What would you play? What would you play?
We would play Metallica and Pearl Jam and like Soundgarden. He would play guitar and I would
Okay.
play drums. That was the first thing. But then my first band was a band called the Steady Rollers, and we did all like Southern rock and roll, like Allman Brothers,
Yeah.
kind of deep
Long Train
purple-ish.
Running.
Yeah, but it was original music. So that was my first band when we were 17,
Okay,
18.
so Metallica, Soundgarden,
Yeah.
so from metal to grunge, and then to Southern rock. How did the Dreamboats, which is a 60s inspired
Yeah.
band,
Yeah.
where did your exposure to the Beatles come? It was after Metallica, or was it before Metallica?
I'd realized that my parents, were always listening to 50s and 60s music. It was always on the radio.
Wow.
They would listen to the oldie station. So it came about very naturally. That music from that era was deep ingrained in me.
Wow.
And I didn't know until it came out one day when I met the singer of the Dreamboats, and we
Chris.
and we came together, and the songs that we all knew how to play were just 50s and 60s songs that we grew up with because of our parents. So it was kind of this like knowledge that had been dormant in us. And then when we started playing, we're like, oh, Johnny Be Good, oh, La Bamba, you know, Twist and Shout. And we all knew these songs.
By the way, your swing is natural.
Oh, thank you.
I was like, look at this guy. Like I was watching your videos.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And you'll know when the swing is like when you're singing and when you're swinging.
It's hard to sing and swing and sing.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, it's tough to
But
sing
then
and
again, you have a natural swing. That I can tell that your
Thank
swing is natural.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, so you and Chris, how do you guys meet?
We met that day, you know. I mean, I'll spare you the details, but essentially the very first day that I met Chris, aka Richie Hummins of the Dreamboats, that was the day, the very next day the band was formed. So my whole relationship with Chris, Richie Hummins, has been through the Dreamboats. That's been our whole relationship since 2009, and we're very proud of what we've done. We've worked very hard, and there's been a few different lineups over the years, but like I remember the days when me and Chris would be literally like calling venues. I remember in our rehearsal space, we'd play like a chain, a bar. It was called Finn McCool's, and they had a Finn McCool's in every city. So I remember we're like firing up the websites of all of them. We get the numbers. He would call and he would get who's the booker, and then immediately after the call, I'd be on the laptop like sending the thing. So we put in a lot of that grind.
Smiling and dialing,
smiling, dialing, and we still do. We're grinding every day for the band. So to bring it back to your original thing, it's like that's why, you know, there's so much that we've picked up, and I feel like just people can really go harder in their careers. And it's not like this thing where it's all tough, you know. It can be fun too. It's very rewarding to like set goals and get to that next level. And it's like after a day of, you know, reaching out to venues and you finally get that one venue that gets back to you, you're like, we did it. It just builds this confidence.
That's a key word, that one venue, because people think they're gonna hit 100 out of 100.
Yeah.
That's false hope.
No way.
You know, or they quit after 2 calls. You can't bat 2 calls and get one booking. I mean,
sure. I mean, like with our band, the Dreamboats, in 2015 and 2017, I booked us European tours. And it was literally like I must have sent hundreds of emails. It was difficult to call because there was a language barrier. Emails, I was good. And I remember I had a day job, part-time job, and I would just be there all day sending emails, but not just like generic emails. It was like very specific. I would be like, hey, I noticed your venue is like this. And, you know, and it just took so much. And then a gig would come in, I would message everyone like, hey, we're playing in Cologne, or we're playing in like, you know, Amsterdam. I got it. And we'd all get excited. And it just keeps the morale up.
Why did you assign yourself to do this?
That's the question. I mean, we all work in the band to different capacities, but I think I've always, and I've accepted this, and it's taken a long time to accept it, but I've just always been that organizational guy. I like systems. I like things being a certain way. I like not only just setting the goals. We all dream pretty big in the band, but you know, then taking those dreams and being like, okay, how do we actually do this right now? I really like doing that, and it's just been something natural to me growing up. Like we were talking earlier, even like our band, we were like, why did we become performers? Is it a DNA thing? Because like I remember in grade 5, it was like the announcement came on at my school. It was like the St. Basil Talent Show, and I was just like immediately, I don't know why, I was like, I grabbed my friends, I'm like, we got to do something. And like most people, or not most, but a lot of people be scared.
Yeah.
But why is it? Are you a natural performer?
Yeah.
Where did that come from?
Same thing.
Yeah.
Like,
what happened?
I drag my friends, like we danced to the Village People. Like during my time, it was the Village People.
Sure.
That was a hit, right?
Yeah.
So when You Can't Stop the Music came, You Can't Stop the Music.
Yeah.
I was like in 5th grade or 6th grade.
Yeah.
I got them all to wear costumes, and we're joining the talent show, and all my classmates were like fuck that, we're doing that. Yeah, we're doing that. We're definitely doing
yeah,
that.
you're
So,
wearing this.
So yeah, and then it was me who started intro voice.
Yeah.
So when I hear you talking and when I hear your passion, I also feel your pain.
It's a bit of a selfless job, and I'm not trying to act like
yes.
everyone does their thing, but it's just doing sometimes some of the real nitty gritty, the stuff that needs to get done that no one really
That's equity.
wants to do. Yeah, that's the selfless stuff, and it can build resentment over the years.
It
If
can.
you're in a band, I'm sure
It can.
you can understand. And I think the only way to combat that is to accept it. It's like, I am this person who does this. It just needs to be like that.
And you know what? It's important also for your bandmates, or for if you're a band leader or a self-declared band leader, or even whatever you want to call yourself.
Sure.
It would be nice to hear words of gratitude from the rest of the band,
Sure.
or words of
Sure.
appreciation.
Sure.
Because that's where it hurts when you did the job, then
Yeah.
everybody's high-fiving that they think they're the shit, and they I mean, it happens.
Yeah. Well, I think with some bands, and we've all played in different bands.
Yeah.
I'm not saying my band, because definitely not. They're always grateful. And like I said, everyone contributes in
Yes.
their own way. Everyone's very helpful. But I think there's a lot of musicians out there that I've met that are like delusional. And, it's like you said, there's one or two people really doing a lot of the work, and then they're just showing up and playing and then acting like, I could do this. I don't need you guys. And that's fine. Like that, it maybe bothers me, but it doesn't really, because that only gets someone so far. And there's a reason why certain people can take their bands to the next level. And it's not by being like that. You
Which
know
is
what I mean?
which is why your words of wisdom, I mean, it's easily digestible, right?
Yeah.
But they strike at the heart. And maybe the reason why I connected with you right away is because I know it comes from the heart, and I'm like, this guy is giving everyone, the community, the real blueprint on how to make it.
Well,
That's what you're doing. I kid you not. Here, you have goosebumps again. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's been my blueprint anyways, so it's like, I know sometimes on the channel I say things like, it's like this, it's like that, but nothing's ever black and white. These are just things that I've picked up along the way, that I've noticed. And I think you hit the nail on the head. Like, I do a lot of these videos and I notice they get a lot of shares, and I've bumped into people in public who are like, hey, I'm always sharing your videos in our group chat. So I think what I'm saying on my channel with some videos are things that maybe people in the band don't want to say. I'm saying it for them.
You know what? Let me translate you. This is Johnny's
Yeah.
video. Let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Yeah, exactly. Not every video, but a big
Yeah.
majority of them do. And I feel like people then have the ammo to go to their band and be like, see, I'm not the only one who says, like, you got to learn your parts. Or like, I'm not the only one who said we should have some kind of look on stage.
Yep.
And they're using that as like, some
Ammo.
fuel of ammo. Yeah.
He
Someone's
said it,
backing them
not
up.
me.
Yeah. So I think that's what, and I've been leaning into that even more as I've been seeing what's been resonating with people. And it creates a really nice dialogue.
Yeah.
Like a couple days ago, I did one on being the band leader. 3 things you need to know if you're not the band leader. And then talking about and obviously all the band leaders are the ones who respond. But it's like things like you don't even think of. If you've never been a band leader, you would not think that if you're booking the show and the show goes wrong, you are the one that has to face the person and look them in the eye and take that check when maybe there weren't a lot of people there, or like people weren't dancing. And it's like, you got to look them in the eye. And it's like, when you have that kind of pressure on you, you want everything to be as smoothly as possible. And it's, I get why people wouldn't get that if they're not a band leader. It makes sense, because until you're in positions, you will never know until you're in someone else's shoes. But I felt like it needed to be said, It exposes
It
people.
has to be said.
Yeah.
It has to be said. And not only that, the way you say it, it's not offensive. The way you say it is such a mellow reminder. In spite of the passion, it comes across as a mellow reminder that,
I try.
hey, this has to be done, blah, blah, blah. Okay, now,
Yeah.
you guys are doing shows, but then again, you're still based in Toronto.
Well, we're actually out here now.
No, before.
Before, yes, Mississauga.
Right? Mississauga. So you're there, traveling to Europe, going back to Mississauga, hub and spoke, right?
Yeah.
Whose idea was it to migrate to the States?
You know how sometimes you play a gig, okay, and then after the show, someone comes up to you and is like, "You guys were great. I'm going to bring you to California." It was like that. Some guy came up to us and said, "I'm going to bring you to California." You know how many times people have told us, "I'm going to bring you to Vegas. I'm going to book you in there." I'm like, so I'm kind of like, "All right, sure, pal, like whatever." And then he was serious, and he ended up getting his daughter to come out and see us, and she liked us, and he got us to get her to book us for her wedding. At the wedding bar, this guy was like, "Hey, my company we're the main sponsor of an event called Modernism Week in Palm Springs." I'm like, "Florida?" He's like, no, Palm Springs, California. I'm like, "Okay, never heard of it." And he's like, "How much is it going to cost you guys to get there?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay." So he's like, "Chew on that, let me know." I went home, I threw out a high number. I thought he wouldn't take it, and he's like, "Done. Make it happen."
How important is it to throw out the high number? Speak to the community.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, I always say there's two reasons to take a gig, either opportunity or money. And we learned that from a former manager, Wayne. But it's true. It's like if it's not for big opportunity, it's got to be for the money. Or else what are you really doing? In this case, it would have involved, flights, and you want to get paid at the end of it. It was just the level that we were at. You have to demand some kind of fee for your thing. If you undervalue yourself, that's actually a bad look.
Keep talking. Keep talking.
It's a bad look.
It is.
You know what I mean? It's
Yes.
like sometimes you could be going, we're talking corporate gigs. Let's just say someone was willing to pay $5,000.
Yep.
If you came in there with a quota of like 1,500, they might not even think you are confident enough for the job.
Yeah.
Like they don't feel the confidence in you. So, but long story short, this guy.
No, don't shorten the story. This is your episode, man. Okay.
Well, I mean, things happen. Like sometimes opportunities arise and they do come through. And in this case, this man, Mike Heatherman, he ended up getting us here to California
Time
for
out.
this one gig.
Before we talk about
Yes.
Mike, I want to know. So was Mike the same person who talked to you when you were in Canada?
We met him in Canada.
Okay, so you met him in Canada.
Yeah.
We meaning is this Richie, you, and who else? The other two guys?
And the band members at the time, Brian and Matt.
Brian and
we
Matt.
were a unit for 8 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is a crossroad. The reason
Yeah.
why I wanted the reason why I want to talk about this long form because
Yeah.
it's a major life decision.
It's the boldest decision of our lives. Yeah.
And Mark was talking to you.
Mike.
Mike was talking to you.
Mike was talking to the band. He believed in us.
But who was the spokesperson of the band?
Yeah, I was dealing with them.
Okay.
I was
So
dealing
now
with
you were carrying
Yeah.
Richie and the other two members. You were carrying the rest of their lives on your shoulder in this conversation.
But yes. Well, now it wasn't quite a permanent move to California. This was like the spark.
Okay.
It was a one-off. Now, the one-off was that we came to California to play this event, Modernism Week, which his company, he's Canadian. He has an American company. They were the main sponsor. So he got us on the opening party. It went really well.
The original band, the original
Lineup.
Okay.
It went really well. And then we ended up just getting more offers from it. Okay. So
While you were here.
while we were here, we sat in his backyard in his hot tub. Mike, I hope Mike's watching. I'm going to make him watch this. We sat in his hot tub. Our first time playing outside or in the United States. I had to get the visa, so it was a huge process getting down here. But him booking us forced us to get a bank account, form a legitimate business,
Yes.
get the P2 visa. I
Yes.
learned all of that because of Mike booking us. So we finished the first gig. We're sitting in his hot tub, and he's like, "Guys, cancel that flight back. This is 2017." He's like, "Don't go back." I'm like, "We can't go back. We got gigs." He's like, "Cancel them all, burn the boats. You're here now." I'm like, "No." And we're all just like, "Yeah, what a dream that would be." So we didn't do it. We ended up going back to Canada. Then we got more offers and we would come. Then we would go back. Then we got an offer to do a residency, which he helped orchestrate every Sunday. So we stayed for a month. He let us stay in his house. And it was just like what he was doing.
Still the original lineup.
Yes.
Okay.
What he was doing was painting a picture for us of what life would be like in California. Seriously, because I'm so grateful for Mike and Kathy Heatherman, because if they didn't continually do that, and then COVID happened, and during COVID, two of our members, things happened, and we had to reform the
Of
band.
course.
And with this new lineup, we went down right after COVID with the new lineup, and they played a couple shows, and like, so wait, you guys had a chance to live here and you didn't? We're kind of like,
Said the two new members.
new ones, and we're kind of like, yeah, and they're like, "Yeah, we should be down here." So we're like, you guys want to be down here? Because it was a little iffy with the other guys. I don't know if it like we wouldn't have been here necessarily with that lineup. Potentially, I'm not knocking them. It's it was different times. So it just worked out, and then we made it. We came in November 2021 with the new lineup, and then by January 8th, 2022, we were driving in our car coming down here with only 4 gigs booked. We're like, what do? We had an Airbnb in Joshua Tree, and the 4th gig was at Agua Caliente Casino, the final gig. And we ended up locking in a 2-year residency off the final gig once a month for 2 years. It lasted. It was crazy. It was like a lifeline. And then we got so much work from it. But the reality is we were in the hole for like the first 2 years because it was like we played theaters in Canada. And it was like coming here, we were playing bars. We were busking the first 2 weeks. Like, imagine, you played in some of the biggest bands with the biggest band. And it's like, imagine going to a new country and like being on the street where no one knows you. It was like, it was very humbling, but we needed to go through that.
Paying your dues, how important is it?
We paid them twice. We paid them when we started, and then we paid them when we moved here. We're still paying them. You're always paying
You're always paying your dues.
In some kind of capacity. But that was the story, yeah.
But how did it gel you guys as a quartet?
Yeah. I mean, the initial guitar player we moved down here with had to go back home, so he didn't make it. But the 3 of us, we ended up finding an LA guy. But I mean, we live in one house right now with our videographer, who's also from Mississauga.
So 5 of you.
So there's 4 of us. The LA guy, Andy, lives in California. And this isn't like a permanent thing. This is just like, we want to be together because we get so much done. Right now, and we have so many gigs, and we're just trying to say yes to as many things that make financial sense or opportunistic sense as possible. So it's good that we're together.
How do you keep your boundaries intact?
It's tough. It's tough. It's tough in the house. We're very respectful though, but everyone has their space. And like I was saying, what's cool about living all together, like that's taking that leap. We made the leap down here, and then it's like once we were down here, at least I felt this pressure that I had to make it worth it. If I'm leaving family at home, like when we first moved down here, we were sleeping in a bit. We were down on ourselves. We didn't get it. And then something snapped one day where we're like, we got to get up every morning. We're working. So to this day, 10:30 musicians morning, 10:30 to 4:30, we're working on the band. We're like, we have a meeting. All of us, we come together at the kitchen table. What needs to get done? And we do it. And then at 4:30, it's like, you do your thing. You can go to the gym. You do whatever you got to do. You go out, enjoy your life. But we dedicate it.
Discipline and commitment, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know you go to the gym, but like going to the gym has been huge. I did a video on that, and people seem to resonate with it. People who do go to the gym realize that it's not about the aesthetics.
No.
It's about the discipline. And it's like how you do one thing is how you do everything.
And you know what I noticed? I mean, watch his videos, watch Johnny's videos. You're not just a drummer. You're a drummer who moves. You're a drummer who sings. You're a drummer who plays the part. And you're playing an energetic set.
Yeah.
You cannot not be in tip-top shape.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and I'm not even, I have it the easiest because I'm sitting down. If you've seen videos of our band,
I've seen
those
they're
guys
running around.
They're running, they're doing high kicks. Our
They
singer,
are.
Chris, last show, Commerce, City of Commerce. He climbed up the rafter. He's not supposed to do this. He climbed up the rafters and like, the load bearing thing. And he did like the human flagpole.
Yeah.
He does that.
So that's at your core. Yeah.
He's probably the most fit in the whole band. Yeah. So it's like, we're all about that kind of lifestyle. And it just translates into our work ethic on the business side of the band, on show day, and on the stage. We're all about creating moments. Is that something you do? Like, how important? I want to know your opinion on how important moments are in the show, because I talk about that a lot. I don't think just playing your instruments and staring at your hand is the best thing. But what's your take on it?
I have this thing. It's called Triple M.
Okay.
So and when you talked about moments, it made me smile because like you need moments in the whole show.
Yeah.
You cannot just go from A to B. There has to be breadcrumbs or moments in every part of the show.
Sure.
Those moments encourage people to buy the merchandise, which will create and solidify the memory of the evening.
Sure.
So those are the triple M's.
The triple M's.
Yeah.
That's great. I love it. Like I think especially in this modern day and age, it's like I always think, what is it going to take in your show for someone to feel like they want to whip out their phone
Yes.
and film that moment to make everyone jealous?
See, look at like the way you said it. To film that moment.
Yeah, 'cause-
it's a snapshot of one aspect of.
Like, you know what it's like is if you're playing to a nice crowd and someone were to jump off the stage, go into the crowd and stand on the bar, you know somebody is going to be
Yep.
taking a video and a picture and they're
Yep.
going to share it online. They're not just going to do it and hold it to themselves. They're going to be showing people, look at the show I saw, look at what that guy did. And I'm all about, our band is all about creating moments. Our singer does a handstand and then we do a drum solo on the soles of his feet and everyone whips out the phone. And it's
See?
like, then they tag us and we get exposure to their new fans. So creating the moments, you know, if you don't want to overthink it, just think, what could we do in our set that would get someone to want to whip out their phone and film it? That's it. It could even just be like, you know, sometimes a singer will take the mic off and lie down on the floor. It's like that. Someone will be like, that's cool. You don't see that, you know? So moments are so important. I talk about that so much on the channel.
How were you guys able to get over your inhibitions?
Easy.
I'll tell you why.
Go ahead.
Filipinos, and you've been around a lot of Filipinos, they're very shy in the beginning. They're very
okay.
reserved, right? And even Filipino musicians, as good as they are, they find it weird to move. You'd see them just sitting down or standing up, but even the drummer, and I would tell my Filipino brethren, you're not creating moments.
Yeah.
You gotta move.
Yeah.
You're in front of an audience, perform.
Yeah.
You need to perform.
I have a couple thoughts on that. I mean, in our case, it might not necessarily apply, but I have a thought on that too. In our case, where we started getting crazy was when the songs, the parts were on autopilot. When you're not, you don't have to think about anything. Like my drumming, I could be eating a sandwich and drumming these things. I've been doing them for a long time, these songs. Our guitar players, they know the parts, like it's on autopilot. When it's on autopilot, you are free to do whatever you want. Like when you really don't have to think about anything, you're free. And then we got bored. Like that's what it was like. We've been playing the songs. We were doing residencies in the early days. And it was just like, we would joke around and we'd be like, I remember we were doing like Mustang Sally, the forbidden song. And the guys just started doing the twos of boom, boom, boom. And then we noticed people just started loving it. And now cut to all these years later, it's just like the songs are on lock and it's encouraged that you get silly.
Right.
It's encouraged that you get silly. But to address your other point, I would say if someone, like we're all pretty extroverted when we're on stage. We were all born performers, like we talked about earlier. But I think some people aren't. They're great musicians, but they're not performers. And for those people, I would say it is important to have some kind of dynamics on stage. I think that goes without saying, unless you're some virtuoso. But most people should have some kind of stage dynamics. And to do that, I would say you got to actually write it into the set list. That's it.
I agree.
It's just like, hey, guitar solo, just take 2 steps forward, put foot up on monitor, solo. And then just back up. Like something as simple as that. Or another easy thing is just the bass player and guitar player just switch and you actually write it in the song. It's like the song starts, they just switch. It's something as simple as that is so different than just being like this. And another thing is that our singer Chris always talks about this zone on stage. If you can draw like a 4x4 foot box around you and you don't leave that box the whole show, it's safe to say that you are not an engaging performer. And I get that there's backup bands. I get a little bit of backlash when I say this because people are like, well, we're just the backing band. That's cool. But a lot of bands, you're not. I see a lot of original bands. I see a lot of cover bands who are supposed to be bringing the party and you'll get a bass player just...
I agree.
And I'm not saying it's just something to think about if you're
By
not
the way,
leaving that. Yeah.
Orianti was Michael Jackson's backup band guitar player and she was on fire.
They could steal the show.
Jonathan Moffat, Sugarfoot would be his live
Sugarfoot.
Right? Right? Those are his moments.
That's his whole shtick.
Yes.
I love when people have something like that. You know,
Oh, you
that's-
also have a nice symbol to your
yeah.
backside.
It turned out that was screwing up my rotator cuff. I was playing for 2 years. It wasn't getting better. And then one day, the sound guy was like, "You must have rotator cuff issues." And I'm like, "I do." He's like, "It's because your symbol's like behind you." So I changed that now. Yeah.
But that was a moment.
I was trying to do something, and it would be fun because I'd be bashing this
Yes,
thing, and
yes.
no one does it. You know, so
No one does it. See, those are the things that
Yeah.
that make sense.
but I understand that not everyone is that natural born performer. And in those cases, like I said, I think you just have to literally write it out. You know, some people can't talk like this. They got to write things
For
out.
their spiel, right?
Yeah, that's how it is. So you just do what you got to do. But if you do care about being you don't have to steal the show. You don't have to be like, look at me, but just move around a little bit.
Again,
you
it's
know?
your moment.
It's your moment, especially if you're doing a solo. Just let people know where
Yeah.
that sound is coming from. Take a couple steps up, you know, or people pull back. Even bass players are like, "Oh, I'm just the bass player." Our bass player, Justin, is so lively. He's jumping around. He's like yelling at the crowd. He's like, he does this thing where he faints and then like it's like revives himself. He's a bass player, you know, so there's no excuse.
There's no, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So when you told your parents, I'm moving to the States, what did
Yeah.
they say?
It was a natural progression because, you know, the idea had always been there. We're like, "Oh, maybe we should do it." And they're just like, "Well, that'd be, you know, crazy or whatever." And then when we were actually like, "I think we're going to do it," I don't even remember. I don't remember. They were supportive though. My parents have always been supportive.
How important is it to have supportive parents?
I think it's so important in my case, but I know a lot of people who don't have supportive
Yeah.
parents and they also do really well. I think at the end of the day, it's how you perceive that thing, because sometimes parents want the best and then kids want to be rebellious. So like, don't tell me what to do. You know what I mean? And then sometimes parents like, you know, don't support the kids and they're like, "Well, I'll show you," you know, so it really depends. But in my case, yeah, my parents were very, very supportive. And yeah, all of our parents, very supportive of our careers. You know, I think just where we've taken it, like at first I remember with my mom, like with this band, the Dreamboats, I'm not throwing my mom under the bus, but she was concerned and emotional at first when I was like, "I'm gonna leave, you know, my day job. I think I can do it." And she's like, "Yeah, where's this all going?" And like, well, and understandably so. She's a mom and comes from a different era of like, you know, work and steady job. She's a teacher, you know, very secure.
Is she first-gen immigrant? No.
She was second. My dad was born in Italy.
Okay.
My mom though was here, but like
Okay.
my
So your dad's
grandparents-
first-gen immigrant, no?
Yeah, well, he
Italy,
was born there and then
yeah.
came here as a young child.
Right.
But my mom, like my grandparents on my mom's side, like very like work ethic. They all worked
Okay.
at the steel plant in Sault Ste. Marie, like
Yeah.
Ontario. You know, both sides of the family, just very immigrant work ethic. So it's tough when you're taking a chance on the arts. So for that reason, I'm saying it makes sense that my mom would have reacted that way. But as we kept hitting milestones, I felt like I owed it to them for believing in me. If I'm going to do music, I don't want them to have to live with me being like the stereotypical bum musician.
Amen.
I'm like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it right. I'm going to give it my full effort. I'm still doing it to this day. That's why I don't have the answers to things. I'm still in the thick of it, you know, and you're still playing.
We're all in the thick of
We're
it.
all in the thick of it.
But see, what separates you is the fact that as you go, you're leaving breadcrumbs for the rest to follow. It's like Hansel and Gretel
yeah.
kind of thing. Like you're not selfish with regard to that. Well, screw you. I invested blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
And you have to do the same. It'll be stupid for people not to pay attention to you, in my humble opinion.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think there's room for everyone at the top. I don't like, you know,
Right.
rivalries and stuff. It's just like, I believe that every band, if they want to grow, I always preface my video, I try to, saying like, you know, if you're doing it as a hobby, do what you want. That's cool. I get it. But it's like when people complain or say, "Hey, you know, there's no money in music," or "I'm trying my best," I'm just like, well, are you? And that's where a lot of my kind of videos come in. I'm like, you know, people who blame people. I'm like, well, did you actually explain yourself well? Did you set expectations? You know, is it because most of the time it's yourself to blame. And that's taken me a long time to realize. I'm sure you've worked with managers
yeah.
and booking agents, and it was easy. Even moving to California, we're just like, oh, this guy's not doing anything, or our manager's not doing this, or what booking agent is this? He hasn't gotten us one gig. And then we realize, well, no, it's on us. It's like, we got to like light the fire. We got to get them fired up, or we decide not to work with them. But it's on us. It's on you. Your career is on you.
As a musician, is it safe to say you cannot be reactive? You have to be proactive because, like what you said, it's on you. It's your career.
Things aren't going to just come to you. As you know, in most businesses, things aren't just going to come to you. You start a restaurant. It's like, people aren't going to come. They might come if they see a new restaurant, but they're not coming the third week if you do nothing. And that's like a band. It's like, it's really hard for people to know about your band in the sea of other bands if you're not out there playing. And to play, you have to be proactive, reaching out to venues, setting up your schedule. You can't play once every 6 months and expect people to remember you.
Right.
And that it translates to online social media. It's like top of mind. It's a whole game. It's a whole game, like any business.
So when the four of you are talking about this, what's the name of your photographer, your videographer?
Eric Soto. Yes.
So we're like with Eric. What's the conversation like with Eric? Because the shots are good, by the way.
Thank you.
What's the game plan? Do you let Eric do his thing, or is there? Okay, Eric, let's focus on the steps that Richie and the rest of the guys are going to do on.
Yeah.
Or like, I know there's a drum cam and all that stuff.
Yeah, I will say we've yet to fully crack that code. That's why I don't talk too much about social media. With Eric, it's changed. When he first came down, it was to literally document the move. So he was there, and we have half-hour episodes called Keep It Dreamy. Season 1, I did myself. So we filmed the whole drive down to California. All of us, I filmed our discussions at the table.
Wow.
They're half-hour episodes. It took a lot of work. I edited, shot everything. Then we brought Eric down, and it's very professionally shot, season 2. And it's like, we get into arguments. It's very real. Like, we didn't stage anything. So he came down to document, and then it morphed into, okay, we don't really need that. Here are the shows. So we're like, what are we looking for? So he knows now from all of our chats what's worked, what's good for a press kit. It's like, okay, if there's a big crowd, I got to get the shot from behind you guys. Like, he knows what
So
we're
Eric's
looking
like
for.
like a member also of the band.
He's family. He's not even just a member. He's like hometown guy. He lives in the house. He's borders my room. Like he's at the table in the morning. Like more than most people. Like he's there.
10:30 to 4:30. You're working.
He's working. He was editing photos today. He was using now what he's been doing with his camera. He's got his DSLR or whatever, and now he has a mount for his phone, so he's also getting like real style footage, and he's editing it in the app. So it's ever evolving. But yeah, we do plan it out. We plan it out 100%. We're like, what are the shows this week? Okay, what do we think about this show? Is it going to be a big turnout? If not, maybe I'll focus on what's a new song you're playing. And he gets the board mix for every show. Oh, he goes there, he plugs it in. So we have just so much material. And that's another thing I talk about is that if you're in a band and you're playing a big show where there's going to be people, if you do not get a videographer or someone to take photos or videos, it's a shame, because that is your leverage for your next show.
Yeah.
Like, you have to get someone there at those shows, those big shows.
You're preaching to the choir. You being here is like angels singing, because it's like, yes, I totally agree. I get it. 100%.
Yeah.
Arguments. You mentioned the arguments. So what are your arguments like?
What were we arguing about that time? I mean, it's rare. We're good buddies, and we have little things here and there. We live together. It's hard to distance ourselves. That's why I like coming here, because it's just nice to get away for a little bit when you're just the house is just work mode. But I like that. I know you like that too. You're on that level. But we'll just argue different things. It's just, especially with me and Chris, it's like I've known the guy for 15 years.
He's like your partner.
Yeah. Yeah, he's my business partner. We're like brothers, and it's just like, so sometimes just a little thing will annoy us about each other, and we'll get into it, but it's all love.
How do you apologize to each other, though?
How do we, Rich? I mean, we usually just, we know when there's something going on, and it's just usually be like, I'll be in my room, and you'll come in and just be like, and we just hug it out, or I'll go in, I'll be like, yo, man, my bad. I'm like, right? I know, whatever, my bad. We just do a little hug, and it's just, that's it, and we're just like, okay.
You mentioned the podcast. You guys have one.
Yeah, keep it. Sorry, that's that. that's that.
What's it about? What's it about?
That's the thing. See, we stopped doing it. Now, that was an attempt. Like I said, we're always trying different things out. And we've been trying it for a while. And not to say we won't do it again, but just with our shows is very difficult. But we did a podcast initially just talking about whatever. And that was a bad idea. But I'm all about just doing stuff sometimes and just seeing what happens. So that was the first iteration. Then when we moved to our new house together, we were like, okay, let's actually come up with topics. And it was great. And the whole reason of that was so that people can learn about our band. We can chop those up and then share. And it was good, but it would just prove to be difficult. And in anything I do, even with my morning videos, it has to be sustainable. That's like working out. It's like if you're telling yourself I'm going to go 7 days a week and you just don't have the time, you're setting it too high. It's got to be something sustainable. What's sustainable to us is sharing show content because we're already doing the shows. Yep. We already have Eric there.
It's not extra work.
It's not extra. Well, it is to post it, but setting up the podcast every time. Our rehearsal room is a rehearsal room, and that's where people sleep when they got to crash at our place. So it's setting up, and it was just a little tough right now. But yeah, sustainability is key. That's why my videos, I shoot them in my car with a coffee. I just get up, this coffee. And this is the reason I use this mug is because I was like, I need a little hook, and I didn't overthink it. And I literally grabbed my coffee. I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do with my first video. I had a coffee. I was just like, and I was like, okay, that's the thing. And then I got the coffee cup, and I'm just like, okay, this is going to be my thing. And I was in my car because there's 4 people in our house, and I don't feel like the privacy. So I do it in my car. People think I live in my car. I don't. Live in my car. But yeah, it's sustainable. I can wake up every morning and I can grab a coffee and just talk. And that's what it's turned into. I edit it right after I film it. I post it as soon as I get home on Wi-Fi. So it's like in 1 hour, the video's done. That sounds like a lot of time, but I drive to get the coffee. I listen to music. I get in the zone. So that's sustainable. So I think in anything, even people posting social media, if you got to set up, like if you didn't have this already, this is sustainable because you've taken the time to build this studio. You literally can sit down, fire up the gear.
We just pressed record, right? That's what we did today.
We did. Yeah. This is sustainable. But imagine someone who's doing a podcast once a month and had to set up the studio and the lighting. It's not going to happen. So I think my advice to anyone who just wants to do anything, create any kind of content, is figure out how you can make the best possible thing the quickest and easiest way. That's the only way you'll do it.
Rehearsal. Do you still have time to rehearse?
We are notorious for not rehearsing because we play so much. We did 4 shows last week, 3 shows this week. And it's like the only time we rehearse is when we have to learn new songs for an occasion.
Speaking of that, before we forget, you want to mention the shows?
Yeah, sure. We're playing this week. If this is coming out tomorrow, that would be Tuesday, June 17th, 2025. We are playing Wednesday, June 18th. We're doing Diamond Bar concerts in the park. These are all free shows. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah, why?
That's close by. That's like 20 minutes away from here.
We're there on Wednesday.
Dude, I'll see you Wednesday.
We're there on... you should... Oh, my God. If you're around, you should come out.
Yeah.
You should see the show.
We should all see the show. Okay, keep going.
Diamond Bar on June 18th. Okay. You would love it. I would love to introduce you to the guys. June 19th, we're at City of Garden Grove Summer Concert Series.
Cafe Lou.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you told me about that. I haven't experienced it. And then June 20th, we're at the City of Norco concerts in the park. This is for my band, once again, the Dreamboats. We do all 50s, 60s rock and roll, but it's like on steroids. We got the matching suits. We all sing. It's a lot of fun.
I noticed, like, you don't necessarily sound like Elvis.
No, we do it our own way.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what makes it modern. You know?
We do it our own way with like more balls, you know. It's just it's like our bass player Justin's like a punk rock guy. He used to play in big punk rock or bands in Canada, and then everyone's got their own little flavor. And then Andy, our guitar player, he's a big like progressive blues guy, so he does the splits and plays the guitar behind his head. Like you got to come to the show. Yeah, if you're around, I'll
see you guys on Wednesday
or at some point. If Wednesday doesn't work, I know how it is. You're a busy guy.
People don't know, but Richie's half Filipino.
Yes, our singer is half Filipino as well, his mother.
And the loyalty of Filipino fans.
We've played the gigs, and that's the thing. Whenever we played a Filipino crowd, the ladies just fangirl over him so much. He's a good-looking guy. If you look up the Dreamboats, you'll be like, oh, him. He's just chiseled. He's the oldest member. I shouldn't be saying this in the band, but he looks the youngest. It's just the Filipino
I think it's a
genes.
Filipino thing. Like,
It is.
I
it
told you
is.
my age.
I couldn't believe your age. I look older than you.
No,
Okay.
I beg to disagree. You look young.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so now rehearsal. You guys don't rehearse because you guys gig a lot.
Yeah.
What would you tell other bands? I mean, because a while ago you mentioned if you want to move, if you want to create moments and just be natural, you have to know your parts.
Yeah.
And to know your parts, you
You
have
gotta
to
rehearse. And that's why I'm not condoning not rehearsing. It's just we have a lot going on that it's not like the show is the show. We got it dialed in for right now. When we want to revamp it, we're going to be rehearsing. When we have a big theater show with moments, we do a dress rehearsal, 100%. But are we rehearsing weekly? No, we don't need it right now with the amount of shows. But yes, to have confidence, there's no question that if you are fully prepared, if you knew how to play something like the back of your hand, you will be going into the gig with a totally different mentality. No question. No question. Every now and then I'll get asked to play a gig. I only play in the Dreamboats. I don't do session stuff really, but I get asked by friends sometimes to fill in. And I always say yes because I like the challenge.
Yes.
I like putting my money where my mouth is. And I had a friend a couple weeks ago. I had 5 days to get ready for the show. And it was all like 90s, 2000s kind
Whoa.
of stuff. So out of my range, I knew some of the songs, but I was just listening to these songs day in and day out. And I think I did a good job. Like, was it, if I had a month, those things would have been on lock. But I like getting into the songs. And a lot of people are just like, it's hard to memorize stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's hard. I'm like, it doesn't come easy to me. Like when I sing a song, I have to literally write out the full lyrics 8 times in order for me to even start to understand.
'Cause if-
that takes like 2 hours.
You know what? Thank you for reminding
Yeah.
me to remind people. Like, if you're a singer, you can have a teleprompter in front or an iPad on the side. But as the drummer, there's
Yeah.
no time and no place for lyrics. But
Yeah.
you sing a lot.
Yeah. Oh, I sing harmonies on all the songs,
Yeah.
and I sing lead on maybe 5 or it depends the
See?
show. Yeah, I sing a lot, but we all sing. Now you brought up a point. I'm reluctant to bring it up. I got hate on a video about iPads that I mentioned. Now the thing is, I mentioned iPads. Okay, I said I think they don't look good.
They don't.
I don't think they look good, but everyone takes it as black and white, and people are like, well, I use it for my in-ear monitors. I'm like, okay, but what I was getting at with the iPad is that if you are the singer of a band or something, and you've been doing these songs for a long time, just remove the crutch because
Yeah.
I think it really helps. I get it. People are older, and like I know professional artists use the teleprompter, but I think there's just something about sometimes the iPad right in people's face. I just think it doesn't look good unless you absolutely need it. Like maybe put the time in to learn those lyrics or learn what the chords are. If you're playing every week the same songs, that was my take. But what's your take? Because I know we're at different stages. What is your honest take on that?
I totally agree that the iPad sucks. When Intro Voice came to the States, me and Jonathan had a big argument. Jonathan's the singer of the band
Okay.
because he was holding a Palm Pilot.
Yeah. Holding.
Even worse, right?
Holding,
Because there was no iPad during that time. It was 2005.
I remember that era, people holding it, and you're like, are they checking a message right
What
now?
the
Yeah,
heck?
yeah, I remember that era.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
Like one mic and one Palm Pilot.
Yeah.
And he's like, it's been a while. I don't know the lyrics to the song.
Yeah.
And so that went out the window. But when the iPad came,
Yeah.
oh my God. Yeah, one of those iPads.
Yeah, sure.
And the reason why I'm on your side of the fence with this is because I've seen fans try to take a picture of him and it'll be his body and an iPad.
The iPad, I know. And I had a good friend. They did a demo reel with his singer, and the singer's no longer in the band, but he had this iPad there, and they had a professional guy, and he didn't even like how it looked. He was like, apparently he was just like, oh, I got that iPad in there. I'm like, so all I'm saying is I'm challenging people to remove the crutch because the iPad, for many people, some people use it for in-ears, I get it. But for many people, it's a crutch. And I think, too, even the less you can have it visible. Like, I see guys who use iPads and they keep it. I've seen
On the
people keep
side.
it on the side or very
Yeah,
low
yeah.
on the floor, and they're just looking at
Yep.
the set list or whatever. But I will say one thing, and I can't expose who this person is, but I know a person personally who is a booker for a very, very big company. And she told me straight up after I did the iPad video, she's like, I've had to cancel bands because the singer's using an iPad. And she's like, And she was just saying this kind of in Canada, but she's just like, I'm not hiring a band to sing karaoke here. You know?
I was gonna say,
it's essentially
if you were hosting a karaoke show,
yeah.
by all means,
Yeah. Yeah.
take
And
the
I know,
iPad.
I know I'm going to get hate if we post this, but I'm just saying, look, it's not black and white. I get that some people need it for different reasons, but I just think, you know, if you've been doing a song for a while, it's like, it's tough to memorize things, but it's possible. We memorize things. It takes a lot of effort, but if you're going to do it, if you want to grow and be professional,
Yes.
put the time in. Just don't rely on the crutch.
So now, like with Playback Jukebox,
Yeah.
our singer Benji has the iPad on the right side
Sure.
or the left side.
Okay.
And it's not, how do I say it? So it's
Right
got
in the face.
it's got a privacy
Oh, nice.
glass already.
Yeah.
And it's on the side. So you have to look at it directly to see it.
Yeah.
And he glances on it. Now,
Yeah.
his iPad is connected to my laptop.
Yeah.
And what's there are the spiels because he sucks at. I
Okay.
love you, Benji, but he sucks at
Talking?
talking.
Yeah, okay. That's a whole art for
right?
sure. Yeah.
So I have pointers there.
Oh,
and,
cool.
And then sponsors, whom to greet.
That's cool.
Shout outs are there.
That's great.
And that's a good way of using the iPad.
Sure.
But when you're singing,
And if it's right in front of your
Oh my
face,
God.
it's just not a good look.
Yes.
In my opinion, but not knocking it officially. I think you use it. It's the same as having cheat notes. Like we do that, you know, you tape them down and people do
Mm-hmm.
it. But it's just like if you're doing the same songs every week, all the time, it's like maybe just think, you know, if I did remove that, I might be free to do other stuff.
Yes.
I just think some people use it as a crutch. Not all people, but some do. And I think they could put the time in.
and but then again, like and we're talking about bands like ours wherein we're doing the same songs.
Yeah.
Right? But if you're like in your case, like what you just said, karaoke bands.
Yeah. Sure.
Or
It's a different beast.
band for hire. Yeah, I understand.
Yeah,
But
and people coming into like last minute session guys, and they're just like, well, you know, I saved the day because of my iPad. And I'm like, yes, I know. I think the initial point was missed, and that was on me because I explained it. I was ranting a little bit, but I'm just like, look, just be honest with yourself in everything. And that's not even just learning your parts. That's even just in how much effort you're putting into your career. You can't be delusional. You gotta just ask yourself the tough questions. Am I using this for the right reason, or am I using this because I'm lazy and don't want to put the time in? Like, like that's a valid thing for certain people. Not everyone though, you know.
okay, here I have to ask you about
Sure.
no. But it's very that's nail on the head. People are gonna debate about it, but yeah, as musical directors, as creative directors, visual artists, it doesn't have its place.
Yeah, I mean, if you are the band leader, you just want the best image put
Yeah.
forward, and
Yeah.
a proper image. A band that can charge the $5, $6, $7, $8,000. You're looking at them and they're looking polished, confident, ready
Yes.
to go. They're not like looking at things. They're not looking at their hands. That's the bottom line.
Why do you think they hide the teleprompter?
Exactly. And people were saying that on my video. So-and-so used a teleprompter. I'm like, yeah, but it's hidden. It's like, you don't want people to know that you don't know something. You want to portray confidence. People come to shows to see a performer and see
Yes.
authority and confidence and like charisma. And you just can't do that if you don't know your parts or you don't know your lyrics like the back of your hand.
True.
I think that's what it
agree.
comes down to. If you want to grow, if you're a hobby and you're having fun, you do you know. But people who complain say I'm not getting bigger gigs, and then I look at them, I'm like, one guy's wearing shorts, one person's wearing a suit, and I'm just like, you guys are having 3 minutes in between every song. You don't have a song list. Someone's got an iPad in front of their face. I'm like, take a look at a band that is playing a 1,000-person corporate event, making 12 grand.
Yep.
And then look at you. And I'm not knocking that band, but I'm like, that's what you have to work towards
Yep.
if you want to grow, if you're in that line of the business.
I hate it. Like, so like us as bands, right? If we're in the same circuit, we kind of respect each other's repertoire.
Sure.
It's like, nah, let's not play that. The Dreamboats are playing that, so
Okay,
let's not do that. It's their signature song. But I've been guilty of playing other bands' repertoire
Yeah.
just because I know when they play it, they don't respect the song.
You do better version?
Like, I'm like, if you're gonna play it half-ass,
Yeah.
please don't play it.
Yeah. I'm going to show you how it's done.
Let me show you how it's done.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to put you down, but to remind you that it
Yeah.
really is a good song.
Yes.
and you're messing it up for everybody.
Yeah, I think it's very important to remind people things.
Before we get to that, you mentioned members. You have a video wherein you talk about auditioning.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's when I figured out that, oh my God, he's the guy that has to do thumbs up and thumbs down. But what's your pet peeve in an audition?
Like someone auditioning for the band?
Yeah.
When they don't learn the songs that they were supposed to learn for the audition. I've auditioned. I played in a band for 6 years that toured all over. We toured Europe like twice a year. This was in the early days of the Dreamboats. It was a touring band, established Canadian act, White Cowbell, Oklahoma, for anyone that might know who that is. And I ended up getting the part on drums. I didn't even think I was going to get it. They were like, here, have these songs ready. And I was just like, okay. And I like learned them and I went in there and I did it and I left. And then they were just like, hey, we did, had a lot of people and they're like, you're a top contender. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, okay. And then I ended up getting there. It's just like, you learn the parts. And it was like when we went through a lineup change, we had different people coming in and you would be amazed at how many people are great musicians and they just didn't learn the 4 songs. It's like, if you want the job with a band, all you have to do is learn the songs. Whatever reference they give you, learn it to a T. You can change it later, but just for the audition, learn it exactly, and you will and just be nice to get along with, and you will like most likely get the job. Would you agree or disagree?
I would agree.
Yeah.
Because it shows your discipline. We go back to that word.
Yeah.
And you're a team player.
You're a team player, that's huge too. And it's even like having this self-respect. Like, I don't like being on stage and screwing up. It just doesn't look good on me. And I have the respect of like, I'm not the kind of person that screws up that stuff. Like, I'm a professional musician. Like, I learn my parts, I'm coming in, I'm on time. I'm like, it's all part of the grand scheme,
right?
Of just preparedness. And but it blows my mind. I don't know if it was just the way I was raised or my work ethic, but anytime someone has asked me to like learn something or do something, it's like, I'm reliable enough to be like, got you.
Or else you'll say, you know what, I'm not the guy for the job.
Yeah, or you can at least have the humility to be like, I'm very sorry, I understand that I don't know it. I had a couple days to do it. It was busy, but you can own it at least.
Yes.
And be like, I'm going to do my best. Just, you know what, do me a favor, just cue me on the ending, but don't worry about anything else. Like, at least say that. Don't act like, we played with many people like that.
Really?
When we moved down here, we lost that first guitar player. And now we have Andy, which is great. But we had a couple guys that came like highly recommended. And it was just, they would show up and they just didn't learn the songs. And they're playing with all these bands. But I'm just like, these are twist and shout.
Come on, right?
Yeah.
What's the future for the Dreamboats?
I want to get to a point where the whole back end, like we were talking about, we've now got an admin person. I'm working on a merch person. I'm trying to relieve myself and the rest of the guys of the day-to-day tasks so that we can focus on longer-term vision and just executing that thing.
How about original songs?
We used to do original songs, and we made a very difficult decision to not do original songs, at least under the Dreamboats name.
Okay.
And after making that decision, because if you confuse them, you lose them. Once we just said we're doing 50s, 60s covers, someone told us that. And once we changed that, it's like we've been getting all these big theaters. We're going all over the States this year and next year doing all these performing arts centers. Is because people look at us now and it's just like, it's 50s and 60s tribute with like balls. And it's just easy to understand. Before they would hear our single, they'd be like, oh, but they're playing like Rock Around the Clock. And then they got a single and it doesn't sound like just... Sometimes you gotta, like, after years of trying something, you gotta be like, you know what? Let's try a pivot. And if it works, that was it. So, yes,
Let's talk about pivot because that's important.
Yeah.
We have to be decisive, especially you're driving the band. Sometimes you have to make a decision right away.
Yeah.
Do you decide now, deal with it later? What goes on to being decisive?
It's crazy because it's hard to be decisive, but the longer you put off a decision, the more stressed out you get. It's like you have this feeling in the pit of your stomach for like days. And you're just like, you can't quite put your finger on it. And then you realize it's because I'm not dealing with that one thing. So it's good to be decisive. I think with certain things, being a band leader yourself, certain things, when you hear a problem, you have a gut instinct. You're like, this is the thing. And I think it's important to go with the gut instinct, especially if you've been doing music for so long. Something's like, oh, we got double booked. It's like quickly you go to like, your body would go to something though. Given the situation, you've probably been in that before,
my God.
and you're gonna know what to do. Each situation is different. I couldn't tell you what to do, but it's like you as a band leader, you'll know where you're going, or like, hey, so and so, you're like, okay, maybe we got to pay out that person and help them find another band, whatever it might be, you know. But you're gonna have that, and I think that comes with experience. You're able to make calls a lot quicker, but I think you got to trust your gut.
Yeah, that's important. Have you double booked wherein you took the gig that made less money because you wanted to keep your word? Have you experienced that?
Honestly, we've rarely been double booked, and it was, to be honest, it was usually on the other venue's end. We would be like, hey, you didn't confirm it, we'd have to show, you know, but then that makes you be like, oh, we need contracts. So you learn from everything. But the craziest situation was that we got a big gig years ago. It was like a first big gig, it was a $10,000 gig, and we had another gig booked that day already. But we wanted to take the $10,000.
Of course.
Gig. So we were just like going back and forth with the guy. We had an agent we were working with, this young girl at the time who wanted to help us. So she was helping us too. And it got to the point where we had to pay this guy out. He's like, I'll let you get out of the gig, but you got to give me like $1,500 to book another band. We're like, that's crazy. That's crazy. And the more we thought of it, we're like, you know what? Just give this guy what he wants. We're making a ton of money. This is better exposure. Pay him off. We just end like that. He'll find a new band. And that's how that ended. So it sounded crazy to pay off someone, but we're just like, in that situation, that's a valid thing.
Yeah.
I would do that again. If I had a gig, a bigger gig come in, I'd be like, hey, look, I'll pay you $2,000. Just, we're very sorry. Find a new band, but gotta take
the
this.
cost of doing business.
Yeah.
But to your point, that gut feel, because you know it'll stress us out as band leaders, and I hope there are band leaders listening. The band members don't understand the stress we go through. They're sleeping at night.
Yeah. Yes.
They only have to deal with the songs they have to rehearse. We have to deal with the songs we have to rehearse, and then more the business side of it and
everything. Yeah. Just the invoices, the checks, the cashing the checks, paying people, the logistics, the parking. Is there food? Do people have to get their own food? You know, the set list, you know, the stage plot, the riders, never ends.
Like there was this one time my keyboard player goes, I don't have any keyboards. We were in Canada. We were in Winnipeg. And he was like, my controller's not here. I go, what do you mean? I go, didn't you tell the producer? And he was like, didn't you put it on the rider?
Yeah.
And so now he brought it back on me, and I did not put it on the rider. So I had to apologize to the keyboard player.
Yeah, but you owned it.
I owned it.
And I'm sure that would never happen again.
Long and McQuaid.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank God. Long and McQuaid. What a blessing. You can pick it up in Edmonton, drop it off in Halifax.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
For like $20.
Mapex drum kit.
Yeah.
I kid you not.
How much?
I'm going off tangent.
How much?
300 Canadian.
Yeah. For how long? Or just the one off? The one show?
No, for sale.
Oh yeah. I got a Mapex in Canada. I bought it on sale. It was $350. Came with a snare too.
Came with a snare. It came with cymbal stands, a throne, a pedal, and guess what? Brand new coated ambassadors.
Oh my God. Yeah.
I mean, the ambassadors themselves, that's expensive already.
Yeah, I know. We could do a whole episode on Long and McQuaid. Chris and our band worked there. It's like they rent everything out for so long. They make a ton on the rental, and then when it's done, they sell it for dirt cheap. It's win-win. It's just win-win. It's the best. But I don't know how long you're keeping this podcast on, but I got a question for you.
Go.
Okay. I think a lot of bands, there are these tiers of bands, especially in cover bands, tribute bands. I think a lot of people are stuck in that $500 to $700 like realm, and or not even getting paid. That's even another realm. That's like hobby, and that nothing wrong with that. But there's that $500 to $700 range. Like, I think it's important for people to know. I used to laugh when I would hear that bands are making like even like $4,000 and Canadian. Okay, I'd be like $4,000, and now I'm just like bands are making $4,000, like $5,000. Like right now, some band within a 20-mile radius is making like probably even more than that.
Yeah.
And I think it's important for people to know that world exists. It just takes a serious amount of commitment and like professionalism.
I agree.
You know, but yeah, I don't know. I just wanted to share because you throw out numbers of some of these gigs, and I know people are going to be at home being like, yeah, okay, this guy he's lucky. But I'm like, no, like you got to put in that work. Go ahead.
So, I mean, We'll exchange notes. But in the Filipino community here in Southern California, an average band makes $500.
Oh, yeah, that's normal.
It doesn't matter if there are 6 of you, 4 of you, 3 of you, or how many of it, right? It blows my mind.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why are they paying the band $500? And then I jumped on it just to experience it. But I came in with a different mindset.
Okay.
I told my cover band at that time, Playback Jukebox. Now we're doing originals already, but we were a cover band at the time. I was like, we'll go on a fishing expedition. So that means we have to be tight. We have to be professional. We have to move. We have to be a $5,000 band playing a $500 gig.
Nice.
And so the intent was to see people in the audience go, I like your style.
Yeah.
Giving them a lot of moments. How much? $5,000.
Yeah.
For all of this, $5,000. I would say that.
Yeah.
And they would say yes.
Nice.
Why? Because it looked like $5,000.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, the opposite, like if everybody follows what Johnny preaches on his channel, the opposite is you come unprepared, you wear your cargos, you play like you're looking at the time and wishing it was time to go home.
Yeah. Yeah. And not playing well too. There's that. You got to play the songs really well.
you now are putting that $500 value divided by 4, so that makes you $125. That's your value, and you just played the part.
Yeah.
When we were doing the $500 gigs, we were giving all of the money to our sound guy.
Yeah.
To make us sound good.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
We weren't taking the money.
Yeah.
Give it to the sound guy. But then again, our sound guy, we'd let him haul all the gear, and we'd tease him, yo, Patrick, you want me to help you? You're going to split that 500?
Hey, I like that idea. I like that.
But see, I had to talk to the guys. Let's waive the money that we're getting from all these bars like Noi Pits and all that stuff. Let's waive the money.
Yeah.
Or put it in a kitty fund.
So you were doing that to get a foot in the door, to get people. That was like the bait.
Yeah.
To get people hooked.
And then when they see us, like, they'd be embarrassed to actually even say 500 because they know it's more than that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And when they ask us, but you guys only make $500? No. Our sound guy makes $500 at these venues.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're practically not even making anything because we're not worth $500.
That is great. That is great because I was going to ask you a second question because that's great. Because something we dealt with is at these bars, like even when we moved down here, it's like we were making good money in Canada. We moved down here. When people see you playing at a bar, they expect you to quote bar level prices. In many cases, not everyone. Some people, they, like you said, they see and they're like, oh, I get this. These guys aren't meant for here or whatever. But a lot of people are like, well, I saw you play at this bar. And it's like, why are you now charging? Like, there's no way that bar paid you $5,000. And it's just like, yeah, how do you deal with that? But that's a great thing. You'd be like, you know what? I'm not making any money for this. This is how we get our gigs.
Yeah.
You know, you could tell people that it's like, I'm doing this for free. This is promo now.
Yeah.
But if you want us legitimately, that's a great.
But that's the key word. It's a promo. That's your loss leader.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is
Your
advertising.
marketing,
Yeah.
Advertising. That's great. I love that because you never know what to say. I'll always be like, yeah, you know, back in the day when we were doing that, I would always kind of be like, yeah, we're just doing this. We know the owner. We thought it'd just be a fun little night. We're just doing it. But it's all excuses. But if you're just there, you know, like, no, like this is the kind of gigs.
And to your point, Johnny, to what you preach, it's all about mindset.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I take the money, then wait a minute, I'm excited. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, money is money. But then again, my band's worth more than this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes, you know, we'd get the check and then we'd give it to all the servers.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah.
We'd say thank you. And you know what the servers would do? If customers would say, which band would you recommend for our playback jukebox?
It goes a long way. But what would you say now? So a band that's stuck at the $500 level, and I don't know really the Filipino community, but it sounds like that is $500. That's like your bar rate for many bands. How does a band get out of that? do you even have a thing? I know every band's different, but like, what would you? It's a tough question.
No, but it's a very good question.
I know.
Because not every band is like the Dreamboats and Playback Jukebox. See, what I don't like about the scene is it's inbred. You know what inbreeding is?
Sure.
Like you're probably in 3 bands.
Yeah, it's the same faces and
Different names.
yeah.
That whole inbreeding cheapens you,
Well, it waters down the whole thing, you know.
especially you, because
Yeah.
you're not bringing people.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
right.
I'm your friend. I'll watch the Dreamboats, but you tell me you're in another band tomorrow. I'm Johnny. You know, I just
Oh,
saw,
yeah.
I just saw
Yeah.
you tonight.
Yeah,
So you're dead weight for whoever is playing,
yeah, true.
and so you're not bringing any value anymore. So if the bar is relying just on the singer, how many people can that singer pull in one night? Right?
Not much.
Not much.
No.
So you as a weekend warrior session musician,
Yeah,
I mean, you're probably gigging 3-4 times a week, making $100. That's $400, and you don't have a care in the world if you're bringing in people or not. You're
Yeah.
you're already making bank.
exactly.
You're fulfilling your hobby,
Yeah,
and at the same time, you're making money to buy your next gear.
yeah,
You're okay. But for us, who want to make a career out of this, we don't belong.
yeah. It's a different level. You got to
Yeah.
break out.
Yeah.
But I think that's why it's like the professionalism. But even to your point, I think everyone at this level, what I always say on my channel is that I think every band needs an angle or a niche. It's just, if you're just generic, if you look like all the other bands, you're going to get paid like all the other bands.
Yeah.
You got to have something unique about you. Then you got to have a great stage show, and you got to have the songs like locked in. Like those at least 3 things. Then you can start to break out. Like you got to be the best band at that bar in
Yes.
order to break out of that bar.
I agree.
You know?
Like Duran Duran at the Rum Runner, and all these
Sure.
the Beatles at the Tavern.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
Oh, and even Hamburg. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. Of course.
right?
But I felt like, if people listening here, it's like there is a whole world out there where there is money beyond $500, and a lot of bands are making
Okay.
great money.
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think if the Dreamboats did not have a look,
Yeah.
did not have a niche, did not have ownership of the brand,
Yeah.
do you think you can charge the way you are charging?
No way. No way. No way.
See, again, like what you said, chicken
Yeah.
or the egg kind
Yeah.
of thing, right?
We're not and that's the thing too, is I even tell people, I'm like, look, sometimes people will message us, do you do any 70s? I'm like, look, we do 50s, 60s. We're not the right band for every event, but we are the perfect band for the right event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
you're doing a 50s, a sock hop, or like a vintage prom, it's like they're searching, we're getting the call, and
Yep.
we can charge a premium.
Yeah.
But if we were just like a top 40 band coming in with nothing, we just you're a bar band, unless you have a look. But yeah, it's just people had told me that before growing up. I remember when we were like starting the band, a friend of ours' dad was a musician. He's like, I don't roll out of bed for less than $500, like himself. We're like, you're making $500? And I'm just like, yeah, he was making 500. And it's like, use this as the proof. Like, people are making this money, and it's not just people like us. It's people who are actually putting the time and care about growing and set the goals and distinguish their band from all of the other bands. If you're trapped in this zone, what can you do that's different
Yes.
to get you out of there? It's like, yeah, don't play in a million bands. You can focus on one band and be booked all the time.
Yep.
You can get a residency. That's how the Dreamboats really gained a lot of fans. I booked a Tuesday residency in Toronto. It was for no money, but we just put up posters, 50s, 60s party, free show. And it was jammed. And we did that for almost 6 months.
See?
This is when we were first starting. We got really tight, and that was the promo. We got weddings out of it. We got so much. We got really good. We have fans to this day from that thing. So it's like, oh, I can't
Yeah.
get booked on a weekend. It's like, then start your own night. But you'll start to realize very quickly.
Start your own night. Yes, that's true.
But you'll start to realize very quickly that if you're starting your own thing, then it gets deeper.
Yeah.
When you book your own show, then you get to the question, like, why should anyone come to this? You're like, okay, I got my friends, but now, okay, that's like maybe 100 people, maybe 100 people. But you're like, how do I get this to be 300?
Yep.
And you're like, how am I going to get another 200 people in here? You're like, well, what 200 people would like what we do? Well, what do we do? It's top 40. Oh, that's spread too thin. Like, imagine you did like a grunge night and your band was just grunge. Then it's like, okay, I know who to target. People who are born in the late 70s, early 80s. And, you know, you're playing their music. You got to have a niche. It's got to be something specific, or else there's no why for anyone to come to your show.
And you know, your critical thinking method, that's blueprint on how these bands who are listening, these musicians, should operate.
I agree. I mean, but it's tough if you're not exposed to people who are thinking. I'm not acting like I'm better than anyone. I'm just saying, like, I think about this stuff naturally. I really think that's why I do these videos. I think I'm like I did a video on this too. It's like the question why will answer all of your questions. It's like people post on Spotify.
Find your why, yeah.
And they're just, well, not even find the other people's why. It's like, no one's streaming my like song. It's like, why should they? Like, why should they? If you can't answer that, it was like, because my song's good. Well, it'd be like, well, clearly something's not working here. You know, well, no one's listening to my videos. And that's another reason why I started my channel, because I had this vision. I'm like, if I could just give value, I want to see if it pays off. And it's getting the views. And it's just like, the proof is there. It's connecting with people. But if I wasn't getting the views, I would have to, if I cared about growing, I would have to be like, something's not clicking here. I got to change. You know what I mean? It's constantly adapting.
True. So, question is consulting a next move career for you?
I don't know. People message me about consulting. That's the thing about my channel. I have no call to action. I'm not selling anything.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Maybe a book in the future, right?
Maybe I want to get coffee cups, and you can support that way. But I have no call to action right now. I just feel like I just want to create a ton of value for people. People message me asking about consulting. I try to just give people pointers where I can, but at some point maybe I'll monetize. But for right now, you know, I just want to expose people to the things I've learned and let people know that you can have a career in music, and it doesn't have to be in the traditional way of like just writing songs and being a big rock star. It's like you can make like 6 figures a year performing songs that you love doing. If you just treat it like a professional like business and put in the time to just being polished and just getting all of your ducks in a row, you can get out of that thing. Like you can do 6 days a week playing here, or you can do 2 days a week making $5-6 a show, and have your whole week to just like, you know, create your original music or whatever you want. But there's money out there. There's good money out there.
Advice for people who are scared of rejection before I let you go.
Rejection is essentially what you learn from. Like anytime there's rejection, I take that as like, okay, what am I getting out of this? Like what lesson is there to be learned here? If you treat rejection and failure as a failure and not a lesson, then it will be a failure. I mean, that's not even my quote. I mean, I've read Outwitting the Devil, really great book. Have you read that one?
Not yet.
It's a really great book, Outwitting the Devil. And it's just how you perceive those things. You know, there's a lesson in everything. The reason you're here in California, it's like, it may have not have been as black and white as just being here, but you got the whole band down here. Things happen for a reason. You are meant to fail and you're meant to get rejected, because that is Mother Nature's way of telling you you need to improve on something. And if you genuinely care about improving, you will then recognize that and make those adjustments. And that's how you get better.
Ladies and gentlemen, Johnny Fiacconi. Don't forget, we'll post all the links in the description. I recommend that you check him out on YouTube, on Instagram, and everywhere Johnny Fiacconi is available. And book your appointment before it gets too hot to be booked.
Thank you, Paco. Thanks so much. That was great.
Thank you, guys.